They are going. Okay, we're going to call to order the Town of Niskayuna Planning Board and Zoning Commission meeting of October 21st, 2024. Ms. Bergami, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme.
Here.
Ms. Strain.
Here.
Mr. Millspa.
Here.
Ms. Bilofsky.
Here.
Mr. Bill Calhoun.
Here.
Chairman Darpino.
Here.
Mr. Khan, Ms. Gomes, and Ms. Gold are excused.
Next up is the approval of the September 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. Could I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Strang, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Bilofsky. Are there any comments or corrections? I had none. Okay, seeing as there's none.
Mr. Laflamme.
Aye.
Ms. Strain.
Aye.
Mr. Millspa.
I abstain.
Ms. Bilofsky.
Aye.
Mr. Calhoun.
Aye.
Alex, sorry, we didn't get to talk to you ahead of time, but you would abstain because you weren't
Right.
at the meeting ahead of time.
Oh, sorry. I'll abstain.
And
Chairman.
Andrew, can you pull your mic closer to you? Pull it like way closer. Yeah, thank you.
Chairman Darpino.
Aye. Okay, meeting minutes from September 9th, 2024 are approved. The second set of meeting minutes that we have are the September 23rd, 2024 meeting minutes. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Strang,
Seconded.
second by Ms. Bilofsky. Are there any comments or corrections? I had none. Okay, see who's done. Ms. Bergami, go ahead.
Mr. Laflamme.
Aye.
Ms. Strain.
Aye.
Mr. Millspa.
I abstain.
Ms. Bilofsky.
Aye.
Mr. Bill Calhoun.
I abstain.
Chairman Darpino.
Aye, and the minutes from September 23rd, 2024 are approved. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce two new board members that we have. Here is Andrew Millspa, and online tonight is Alex Bill and Calhoun. They were appointed by the town board, and we welcome them to our planning board. Next up, public hearings. We have no public hearings tonight, so we're going to move to privilege of the floor. I would like to make one quick announcement. If anyone is here to talk about 2339 Troy Schenectady Road, we just wanted to let you know that the applicant has tabled their project until the 11/18/24 planning board meeting. So if any residents have any questions or comments about any planning or zoning matter, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and privilege of the floor is now open.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Piro, and I live at 1017 Onondaga Road. I am here in regards to 2339 Troy Schenectady Road. I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but I would like to you to hear some of the concerns I have as a neighbor to this property. I urge the board to deny the proposed variance for 2339 Troy Schenectady Road when it comes before you. Granting this variance would negatively impact both the Niskayuna community and the surrounding neighborhood. First, regarding the community at large, the 2013 Comprehensive Plan outlines principles and goals for development. It emphasizes maintaining existing residential zoning along Route 7 corridor, preserving the residential character of nearby neighborhoods. The plan also highlights increased traffic as a concern, particularly due to commercial development in neighboring Colony. The proposed size and nature of the variance would set a troubling precedent for other grandfathered parcels along Route 7. Allowing this type of development on one parcel would pave the way for further commercial encroachment along Route 7, creating an irreversible trend. Such a trend would undermine the residential character that the town seeks to preserve, leading to a scenario resembling Colony's portion of Route 7, characterized by congestion, strip malls, and fast food establishments, all detrimental to Niskayuna's residential appeal and in contradiction to the town's comprehensive plan. Secondly, the proposed variance would adversely affect the immediate neighborhood. The comprehensive plan outlines why residents are willing to, quote, pay a premium to live in Niskayuna, citing the town's livability and the distinctive character of its neighborhoods. Specifically, the plan highlights the Schaefer neighborhood, our neighborhood, known for its quietness and historic homes built by conservationist Paul Schaefer. Schaefer was instrumental in protecting the Adirondacks from commercial development, and today I am here to advocate for the integrity of the neighborhood that bears his name. Allowing any commercial expansion into the Schaefer neighborhood, an area unlike any other with its unique collection of Schaefer homes, would fundamentally alter the character which is vital to the identity of Niskayuna. A proposed 150% increase in the size for an automotive repair garage and convenience store would severely impact the neighborhood. As the board knows, a grandfathered parcel is only allowed a 10% expansion. An expanded garage would lead to increased noise from repairs, odors associated with automobiles, and a rise in waste oil generation and the disposal of car parts, among other things. The expanded convenience store would attract customers at all hours, from early morning to late at night, using Onondaga Road, a narrow, quiet street, as a shortcut to avoid Route 7. The constant influx of customers, many of whom do not live in the neighborhood, would result in higher vehicle volumes, congestion, and parking challenges on an already narrow street. This creates hazardous conditions for pedestrians, especially children. The noise from delivery trucks, customers, and the store's operations would disrupt the peaceful environment that our residents value. Moreover, convenience stores often attract late-night traffic, further disturbing the tranquility of the neighborhood. Extended operating hours can lead to increased noise and light pollution, disrupting the lives of families who seek to live in peace and quiet. Additionally, convenience stores are frequently associated with the sale of alcohol and tobacco products. This can lead to increased instances of loitering, litter, and potentially negative behavior in the vicinity, diminishing the aesthetic appeal of the neighborhood and raising safety concerns for residents, particularly families with children. In light of these concerns and others I haven't mentioned, I respectfully ask the board to reject this variance when it comes before you. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Doug Lonis, and I've made it a point to avoid coming to these places. I live at 2314 Cayuga Road, and I've been there since 1988. I'm not going to state whether I'm for or against this proposal, but I am going to compliment the individuals before me for paying attention to a person who's speaking before you. I know in the past there's been criticism of town board members and other committee people who are doing other things besides listening to your citizens. I am grateful that at least this committee takes its role seriously and listens. And for that, I thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Jeremy Berry, 2336 Cayuga Road. I don't think I can say it better than what Kyle just said, but I will say a few things. I bought my house in October of 2020, or excuse me, October of 2000. I've been there for 24 years. When I bought my home, one of the biggest concerns I had at that time was that gas station. And I was told multiple times from multiple people that that gas station would never be expanded. Unfortunately, a neighbor, actually, Kyle now lives in our home, the original owner of that home. Her husband and she owned that property between my property and the gas station. I was not aware that that property was being put up for sale. If so, I probably would have bought it. Unfortunately, the applicant bought that piece of property in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure how that sale went through, but I do know that that family did not want that property going to anyone who owned that gas station. So essentially, we're now in a position, we were here probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. where the applicant wanted to expand the gas station. We, at that time, brought a lot of neighbors together, which is unfortunately a good thing because it brought us all together to fight against something that we were against as a whole. My biggest concern is not about the applicant at all. It's about the future of Route 7. I think everybody I've talked to throughout the town of Niskayuna has moved to Niskayuna, young families and old folks alike who stay here for the community, for the neighborhoods, for the patchwork of neighborhoods. And I think it's important to maintain that. The minute we as a community decide that we're going to allow an existing commercial property that has that's in a residential community, a residential area, zoned residential, the ability to transition to a much bigger commercial lot sets a very, very bad precedent in the future. It could open the door for a lot of potential commercialization, which essentially would be the downfall of this town. I think I'm speaking for all of my neighbors here, and I can tell you a lot of folks that I've talked to throughout the town are very concerned about that commercialization. I'm a business owner. I'm for business, but I'm also for the community. We do have wonderful business owners within the town of Niskayuna that I think we should continue to maintain, and I want those businesses to be profitable. I do my best to support those businesses, but I will tell you, I do not support that business at all. I'm against it, and I hope it stays that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Alice Rubenfeld. I live at 2122 Orchard Park Drive. I've been a resident of Niskayuna for 50 years. I sat on the Zoning Board of Appeals for 19 and a half years. I wasn't even going to address this, but I will remind you of something that many of you probably don't know. And that was maybe 30 years ago, the Times-Union named Mohegan Hills, this neighborhood, as the hidden gem of Niskayuna. Think carefully about what we are. We are one of two what are called bedroom communities in the Capital District, Del Mar being the other one. The definition being that the bulk of your commercial business is done on the perimeters of the town. So we have Mohawk Commons, okay, and then it is augmented by smaller businesses, which are part of what we call neighborhood commercial. Well, it's done very well on Knott Street with a barber shop, with Knott Street office, with all kinds of things like that, okay? When the town let the shopping center go up, there was an overlay district that had very rigid lighting parameters and other things. And very often that has been kind of shunted aside. Okay, I watched the Ace Hardware go in. Yes, it's nice to have a hardware store in town, it is. But that isn't what that area was meant to be. And I am very concerned about the fact that there are empty parcels that could expand the CVS Plaza, which is already, I remember when that was a strip mall with doctor's office and dentist's office and so on. So you've already changed the character of town. Something that shouldn't be done by variance, you have to do it obviously by change of zone. I would say that expanding the gas station would be a major change that would put you in a position where you have to deal with the fact that when people get a warranty deed, they are, one of the guarantees in your deed is that you will have quiet enjoyment of your property. These homes and Paul Schaefer predated that gas station. Therefore, they get, I didn't have much luck when the high school, which came after Baker Street East, and put up all those lights and all audio systems, okay, and has effectively, I can hear it on Orchard Park Drive on a Friday night. It changes the character of a town. Now, there are lots of things about this town that has changed, but we are still, the bulk of our streets are 2-lane roads. The fact is, we have more traffic, we have more problems with water, we have no long-term plans. We don't have, we should have a 50-year plan of what you want the town to look like in 50 years. The fact of the matter is that I do believe in change, and I do believe in growth, and I do believe that populations change and need different things. But commercialism coming into the center of town is just not that. And the fact is that driving down Route 7, Troy-Schenectady Road, as I refer to it, driving down that road can be a very pleasant experience. And if you look what happened to Upper Union Street when I left the zoning board, and a single owner comes in and purchases 3 houses, and you wind up with that monstrosity of a building that is Albany Med's urgent care. Those were gorgeous homes that were taken down. The history of this town that was taken down, so that horrible looking building, which overwhelms everything around it. I get calls periodically from people who are afraid that when a certain person's name comes up, that they are trying to flim-flam the town into believing that they are going to be using something as an office, which we all know that person will not be using it as an office. He will be using it as a rental. I want you to think about the water problems in the town, and there are a lot of them. The Niskayuna water table has changed dramatically. In addition to which, as I go down Seneca Road, where Peter Sotile thought that there would be a handful of houses built, okay, there are these gigantic homes going up, and when you drive down that road, there's one sewer, one storm sewer, which will never be able to handle everything given the topography of the land. I love this town. I have fought with my children about not leaving it and staying here, even though I have lived alone for the last 14 and a half years. Instead of moving to another state, I think that before we make more mistakes, there should be a building moratorium, much like Guilderland has proposed, after being put under enormous pressure by its population base. There should be a building moratorium, and you should decide, what do you want this town to look like for your children and your grandchildren? What do you want in terms of quality of life issues in this town? Do I think it's great that there's a place that's assisted living where people can actually walk across the street to Stewart's and get a cup of coffee? I think that's pretty neat. Okay, but I do not think that what has happened to Upper Union Street should ever be done anywhere else on Route 7. It will be a catastrophe. It will be the beginning of the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joan Hefler. I live at 2335 Cayuga Road, and I can't believe that I have been in that house for 40 years, and I'm the 7th owner. When I first moved in there from Charlton, it was quiet. It was beautiful. My family, family of neighbors were lovely. They all came to say hello to me. We have a very tight community, and we all look out for each other. That property, the gas station, the present owner is the 4th owner of that property. The 3 prior, I had no problem at all using that facility for gas and for repairs in my car. Ever since the present owner has been here, I have to talk about the unsafe quality that he's brought. When you try to make a right-hand turn onto Onondaga from Route 7, there's 3 cars of the employees right there. And so you end up being in the opposite lane, hoping that another car is not coming so that there's no smash up. There's an exit and entrance onto Onondaga. So when you're making a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn, you're ready. If somebody's coming out onto Onondaga, you're going to hit them. And it's really hard to really pay attention. Also, I was told that he didn't necessarily have a license or a certificate or whatever you need to sell used cars, but he's been doing it for years. And I don't know if he's allowed to do it now, but he was doing it. He was cited. It's not the first time. And I'm so afraid about the safety of our neighborhood and our properties. And so there you go. I'm going to live there 40 more years.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Berry. I live at 2336 Cayuga Road. I wasn't going to talk about some personal aspects of it, but some of it was open up. I will say, historically, whenever we've had concerns, we've addressed it with Harry. One time we were all at the library, we came together and he presented and talked to us. And we openly told him we were very concerned about several things. One of my previous neighbors who moved away brought up the fact that he had another store with several bays in it, and he opted to transform that store into, or those bays into just a store. And she was concerned, if you want more bays, why don't you turn your other location back into bays? Because that's what they were before you transformed it into a convenience store. Another concern I have with him is during that meeting at the library, when we all addressed our concerns about parking on the corner of Route 7, because most people do not drive 40 or 45, they drive a lot faster than that it's hard to see vehicles when he has them parked on the corner. And he placed his hand over his heart and said, I promise, if I have to go out there myself, I will tell them to move. I'm going to paint strips there and no parking. I have pictures a week later, his personal vehicles parked there. At least 4 or more vehicles, sometimes stacked across. I have several photos of it. So his commitment to us, time and time again, has shown me that he will say one thing but do another. I'm very concerned about it. Another concern I have with Route 7 being developed, you ask anybody, and I've had several conversations, what it's like to go into Latham now on Route 7. You can drive, and they've added more lights because of the businesses going up, and you're constantly just sitting in traffic. I do not want that for Niskuna. And I know with talking with so many other people, nobody wants that in Niskuna. It's horrible. And if you think about it, Troy Schenectady Road, you have Balltown Road, and then you have some back roads like River Road. You're going to bottleneck us in, triangle us in, and we're boxed in here as a community trying to get out. And I know people are, and I know I've heard that, when we do development, we anticipate there's going to be different driving patterns and different traffic patterns, but we're going to basically be rubbernecked in here because there's going to be no way getting out. So I'm against any expansion other than what he's grandfathered in, which I believe is 10%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marina Piro. I live at 1017 Onondaga Road. One of my main concerns, aside from the many that my husband mentioned, is the traffic on Route 7, period. The first week we moved in to the house, we were sitting out in the backyard having dinner. We could hear an accident that happened actually right in front of the gas station. I think anyone who also lives in Niskuna could say there's a lot of traffic issues and accidents, including fatalities on Route 7, especially within that 1 to 2 mile length from the gas station in either direction. So that's my main concern with any kind of commercial development on Route 7. I'm fearful of the traffic conditions that any increase in traffic might bring, especially considering the amount of accidents that have happened and that we've witnessed just right outside. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tara Peterson, 1032 Onondaga Road. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on a very important issue regarding expansion and having a business on the corner of our street. As our neighbors have mentioned, Onondaga Road is a very narrow road. And since the gas station has expanded, is selling used cars, there's always at least 20 cars in that lot. We've called the town numerous times and asked them to come over and monitor. And we are always told, did you go and talk to the owner yourself? We have all, many of us here, tried to talk to the owner, tried to be good citizens, good neighbors, been friendly about it. It goes in one ear and out the other. We get told, yes, sweetheart, I will never do that again. I will move these cars. We won't park on the corner. I put no parking zones there. No one will park there. As Karen said, he swore to us at the library with his hand on his chest that he would not do that. But it's his vehicles. It's his pickup truck often there, parked there, obstructing our view of traffic coming down Route 7, turning onto Onondaga Road at a very high rate of speed. So the traffic has picked up. Route 7 has been widened. There's very few traffic lights from Lye Road all the way up to Balltown Road. People pick up speed and come off that road onto our street going over 50 miles an hour. And now he's expanding his cars down the side of our road because there's no signs, and that's something I'd like to find out how to address. There's no sign saying no parking. So he's got 3 or 4 cars parked out on the road in addition to the 20 in the lot, 20 plus in the lot. I have probably 50 pictures in my phone. I walk early in the morning. There's frequently buses pulled over on the side of Onondaga Road, right near the entrance of Route 7, Niskayuna school buses. I'm not sure why they're parked there, but they're idling there with their engines on. So when you're coming off of Route 7 onto Onondaga Road, now you've got buses on one side and Harry's used cars or his employees' vehicles parked on the other side. And the opening to get in is dangerously narrow. There's no way two lanes of traffic can get through there. I personally had an accident at that corner. I hit a bicyclist about 5-6 years ago. There was a pickup truck parked right on the corner obstructing my view. I didn't see the man coming down the road on his bicycle. Thank God. We collided and he wasn't seriously hurt, but it was horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to hit somebody on their bicycle. And I live in fear it's going to happen again. I know in July there was another accident right in front of the gas station. I believe it was around the 22nd or 23rd. It wasn't a fatality, I understand, but there was another accident there. The visibility is really poor. And with the 2 entrances, one on Route 7 and one on Onondaga Road, it's really tricky for cars. They don't know whether to come out onto Onondaga and turn back on Route 7 or try to it's easier for them to do that than for them to go off of the gas station lot onto Route 7. Where all the traffic's coming at a high rate of speed. So they pull out on Onondaga, but they can't see the traffic coming both ways simultaneously. And it's just, taking your life in your hands going out that corner. I try not to go out that corner. I go up and around to avoid going out. So an expansion of this business will just make a bad situation that much worse. So we know he withdrew his talk tonight, but we ask you to keep this all in mind. The residential character of our neighborhood is so important, and the expanding businesses and granting variances to businesses in residential areas is really not anything anybody here in Niskayuna wants, except for the business owners who are trying to do it. Appreciate your comments. They were wonderful and well thought out. Please seriously consider this and say no. And we would like more support as neighbors on how to deal with this growing concern on the corner and who to talk to and how to get people to call us back and enforce what they say they're going to do, because it's going in one ear and out the other. I'm sorry, but we don't feel like we're getting represented as citizens here by our town. So we hope you can listen to our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. else for privilege of the floor?
I'm Paula Keefe, and I live at 1021 Onondaga Road. I live directly across from Harry. And we moved here from the West Coast.
Could I ask you to just come a little closer to the microphone? Thank you.
We moved here from the West Coast and due to illness, and we have family in the area. And we searched and searched for a town to live in that could be our home. And Niskayuna fit that bill. When we found the house, it was a Paul Schaefer home. We love it. We looked into the gas station, found out it was grandfathered in, and were assured that there would be no change to it. And we're disheartened a few years ago when Harry applied for a variance. We moved to the town because it was the quiet town that we were looking for. It was a walkable town, a walkable community. It was just perfect for us. And I hate for the town to lose that charm. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else in attendance for privilege of the floor? Okay, Laura, is there anyone online wishing to speak?
I don't have anyone online. I did receive a message from Therese Asalian,
Okay.
which I'll forward to you guys, and it will be included in the minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, last chance. I'm going to call for one last call for privilege of the floor. Okay, seeing as none, we're going to close privilege of the floor. Next up is unfinished business. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. And as mentioned previously, 2339 Troy Schenectady Road has been tabled until the November 18th, 2024 meeting. No other new business, so we'll go on to discussion items. We have no open discussion items. And we will move on to reports. Laura?
Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen super fast. This is probably something that we will see at the next meeting. We received an initial sign package from the Niskayuna school system for the office building at 1430 Balltown Road. Our previous planning board our previous planning board resolution, it required that we approve the signage, and Clark has already done some initial analysis on this signage. It, as proposed, it doesn't meet code. So, he's provided all that information back to him, and we expect to see a revised signage plan, but I think that this will be similar to what you see. So I'm just inviting you guys to drive by, look at what's there. As requested, I think it'll probably be a requested waiver and a bit substantial in that area. They do like their branding. So.
Yeah. So so everyone's aware, the school district itself would be, I guess,
immune
to those things, but this is a leased building, leased property, so they would have to come back. That was in the original proposal. The monument sign is consistent. If you've driven around town, you've seen, a lot of the schools have started to add those signs. And then that is the one that faces the driveway side on there, even though we would consider that a second facade.
We would consider that a second facade, yeah.
Even though
That's facing Balltown?
No,
that's
facing in.
Ace Hardware.
facing
Yeah.
And just for the newbies, can you just speak a little bit to the code that it's violating and sort of the substantial request that's being made? Can you just give us a little context, Laura?
Sure. Clark, do you just want to go through kind of your initial analysis?
Sure, I can do that. Yeah, they proposed a sign package. There's 3 signs in the package. 1430 Balltown Road falls within the Town Center Overlay District, and the code for that district does give the planning board the authority to waive anything within that portion of the zoning code. So the planning board has quite a bit of authority to waive requirements. So there's 3 signs. The first one is that, as has been mentioned, is the monument sign on the left. It's dimensionally undefined. There's a couple dimensions in there that we need. The overall height from the bottom of the red portion to the very top of the sign, as well as the distance from the bottom of the red portion to ground level. Our code requires that to be no more than 24 inches. So there's a couple things that they need to define there. The code also requires that a monument sign be only allowed on lots of 5 acres or greater. But as Laura and David have mentioned, there is quite a precedence for allowing monument signs. So again, the board does have the ability to waive some of those requirements. And we have them all detailed out, and you'll have them for the next meeting. The second sign is the logo sign. Well, I'll go by the one that you can see there, the Niskayuna Central School District. That's a code compliant facade sign on that entrance to the building. So that complies with our code. The third sign would be the Niskayuna logo sign. That's a facade sign facing Balltown Road. The Town Center Overlay District signage portion of the code states that a facade sign can have a maximum 30% of the sign area as a logo. So this is obviously a sign with 100% of the sign area constituted by or consisting of a logo. So again, the board would have to provide a waiver for 70% additional area for the logo, but there is also precedence for that. So again, we'll have a more detailed package for you for the next meeting. And one more thing, we do need dimensions on the monument side in terms of setbacks from the right-of-way and things for Balltown Road and the side property line down there where the blue circle is.
And just one more question. Would the waivers stay with this particular applicant and use, or in other words,
No, they run with the land.
they run the land?
Yep.
So in other words, this doesn't just stay with the fact that this is the school district's request. If this
No.
building in 10 years becomes something else?
Specifically not, because you're never really regulating what the sign says.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
because of the First Amendment.
That's helpful.
First Amendment? Okay, Rob's nodding yes.
So are we not discussing this today? or-
No, this is just a heads up.
Okay.
So feel free to drive by, look at the other monument signs in the area, kind of picture the logos on those buildings, and then probably be ready to discuss at the next meeting. We
Yeah.
also,
The placement of the monument side is something we should all take a look at, because there are a couple other monument signs that are right there along the sidewalk area. So not to group them too closely, but yet space them further enough apart. There are new plantings up on the lawn. One of the larger trees, I think, came down as part of is that part of the tree removal?
in the back,
Yeah, in
more
the
trees
back,
came down.
yeah,
The
the trees
front
came
kept
down.
its trees.
But they've got the landscaping and some of the stuff on the front area completed, and the facades look like they're all done.
It's a pretty substantial expansion too at the tail end, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're asking for final CO. So the expansion is pretty complete. Now we're just
Okay.
looking at the sign package. And then Clark also had in your packet a report of just some of the other things we've been looking at. The zoning code amendments, we sent you that timeline. It's actually already outdated, so we can look at amending that again. And we haven't heard anything from 929 Pierce Road or 1045 Palmer Ave. And we do expect at some point to bring a new lighting plan for 480 Balltown Road. But we just don't have that. They haven't paid for the application and finalized it. So we have a lot of the information, but it just hasn't been put on your agenda yet.
Good. Anything else for reports?
I do not have any more.
All right, great. I'll move on to commission business. Anyone present have any open items to discuss?
Thank you to those who went to the training, and I will send an email to those who couldn't go to any of the in-person trainings to try and get webinars in before December 31st.
Okay, great. Just remind board members that we only have one meeting in November, so it is the 18th. And that's about it. I want to welcome again the new members here. And things are going to ramp up here shortly with applicants and other items. So if there's no other open items, I will call for someone to move for adjournment.
Move, Chairman.
Moved by Mr. Laflamme, second by Ms. Strang. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned at 7:41 PM.
Thanks, Clark.